Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Mark, a trainer here at WEX Field Service Management, and today we're covering maintenance plans, advanced training. This webinar will cover setting up your maintenance plan templates and details about that, how to sign your customers up for a maintenance plan with different options. There's a couple different ways that you can sign customers up, how to schedule your maintenance plan visits. There are different places in the system where you can actually do your scheduling, how to keep track of your maintenance plan visits and look at your reporting so you can see expired plans for renewals. And then we will look at your maintenance plan reporting just to manage your plans in bulk. We'll do a live Q&A at the end where you'll get your questions answered live on stream. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into WEX FSM. Now, today is the advanced version of learning how to do maintenance plans. So we will go a little quicker, but I will show you the very first spot where you're going to set up your maintenance plans will be the maintenance plans admin page. To get here, you will go to more applications, maintenance plans. From here, these will be all of your plans. By this point, you have probably already set up your templates. You've got everything ready to go. I'm just going to cover a couple details that you will want to consider. Let's look at the Comfort Club plan as an example. Now, all of these are different plan types that you can have, and the contract length when you're creating your plan. You've already added your plan name, your description, but the contract length is really important. That's the contract that the customer is signing up for to enter into a contract with you. And that is going to state you're going to come out for how many years the contract is set for, and then you'll provide services to them during those times. 1 year will set the customer up on a 1 year contract. When you add the maintenance plan to your customer, it will automatically populate service windows, and these will be jobs that you will use when it's time to go out and do those services. Now, some tips on using the contract length. If you set it to 1 year, after that year, it will be marked as expired in your system, and you will need to go in and sign them up again for another year. But we have multiple years. So let's say you choose 5 years, that will build out the next 5 years of service window jobs in your system. So those are set and waiting for when you'll actually go out and do the services. And we'll show how we're going to use those jobs in context a little later. If you choose the 5 years, it will expire after 5 years, and you will need to set them up on a new plan. Until canceled is best paired with the recurring payment plans. And we will dive into how to set up those recurring payment plans and where to track those. But until canceled is going to set up the next 20 years of maintenance plan visit jobs. That will set up a job for each service window that you have. And that will essentially set up the next 20 years. And so if you pair this with the recurring payment plan option, that is great. That is for the way that it will work is you'll set your customer up on a recurring payment plan. You'll be able to choose the interval that it will auto debit from the card they have on file or pull from the bank account they have on file. Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw your name twice and I wasn't sure. So Lori says my operations manager, Brock, there we go, just joined. Perfect. All right, welcome, Brock. We are recording today's session, so you will be able to watch a replay of this to catch anything you may have missed, but welcome. And Brock, any questions that you have, you can put those in the chat during the presentation. Otherwise, Just we'll do that at the end. We'll leave the like last 15 minutes for an open Q&A. Welcome, Brock. So from here until canceled, and this is huge. This can be, I really recommend that you do this now that you have your maintenance plans in your system. You've been using these for a while. Choosing until canceled and using the recurring payment plan will go a little like this. Your customer will sign up for the maintenance plan and enter into a recurring payment plan. They will provide you with their payment details, which will either be their card information, credit or debit card, or their ACH information for their bank, and it can pull directly from their bank account. That will store securely in their system, and you will choose with the customer what the interval will be that it will pull that payment. So if you're setting it monthly, then it will just charge the customer monthly. That would be it for customers who uh, maybe want their payment to be lower. Monthly will have the lowest payment option. Maybe they're going to do it yearly. So they pay $100. You're going to come out twice a year, do their spring cleaning and their fall cleaning, and it will just recur each year. And once you have that set, you will be able to go and check that those payments are going through, but it's going to happen automatically. And it's really nice when you get all of most of your customers or as many as you can on a recurring payment plan, because that is going to give you some longevity for your maintenance plan program. That recurring revenue coming in, each month, each year is going to be some great cash flow. And it has some customer loyalty. Your customer has chosen you to do the maintenance, and they just know, I've got that set up on a payment plan. I don't even have to think about it. And you will be able to schedule with those customers and keep that loyalty. They can cancel at any time, but it's nice when you have a lot of recurring revenue coming in. All right. Also, we have Chelsea who has just joined. Welcome, Chelsea. We are recording today's session, so you will be able to watch a replay of this to catch anything you may have missed. But we'll do a live Q&A at the end, so you can ask any questions that you want. Okay, so Brock says, hold on, let me read this real quick. Okay. So Brock, for that one, let's take a look at that together in the Q&A. That way we don't derail from the current presentation. But great question, and continue adding them. Let me put a little mark on here to go back to that. And we'll do that in the Q&A, Brock. Excellent. All right. The annual price, this is another thing to consider. So when you're setting up your plan, so think of this as a template, the annual price you're going to want to set based on how you want this to work. One way that you can do this is you can set up multiple variations of the same plan. If you're doing that, you want to put the price here. So let's say my maintenance plan program is called the Comfort Club. And if I'm doing, let's say, working in the HVAC industry, there may be different customers that have different assemblages of equipment, and you would want to build out different templates for each amount of systems that they have. So I would make a Comfort Club plan 1 system, and that's $100. A Comfort Club plan 2 system, maybe that's 180, 3 system, etc. The benefit of doing it that way is that the pricing is set and your technicians in the field will not have to do any math. They will just look at the list of templates and choose from that. So they have 2 systems. I choose 2 systems. The pricing is already set and we go. However, maybe in your line of work, you have so many different variations that it doesn't make sense because you'd have to make 100 templates to cover all the different assemblages of equipment. In that scenario, I would recommend setting your template to $0. and then you can put pricing in the description, or you could add a checklist that has all of your maintenance plan pricing and then attach that checklist to the maintenance job type. And every time you do a maintenance visit, your technician will be able to look at the checklist and see the pricing for the different pieces of equipment. And then they will just do the math in the field based on the different pieces of equipment and enter the price in the moment. That's a little more of a custom way to do it. In that scenario, you would only need one template to rule them all, because the pricing of that you would just create in the moment. Now, that does mean your technicians would have to add up the pricing in the field, and they would be the ones who are determining the final price that you're charging the customer. So those are kind of two main ways that you can use the annual price within the templates. One way, build out multiple variations based on systems and give a determined price, or set it to 0, which gives you the option to customize in the moment for the job. The last thing here that I want to just point out is your service windows. These are just going to be the default service windows that are set up when you add this template. So in this scenario, this is saying we're coming out between January and June for the AC cleaning and July and December for the heat cleaning. But make sure you're updating these either on the template or when you're adding it to the customer. So maybe I want this to say, visit 1, visit 2. You can add as many of these service windows as you want. Some other examples, maybe you have a commercial customer who you're going out to monthly. So you could technically add each month individually. You would just say January to January, February to February, March to March, etc. And then that way you will have a job set up already when it's time to go out and do those each month. All right. So those are some details, diving deeper a little bit more into your templates. Let's go back to our maintenance plans list. And then this is where you will see all of your different plans. All right. Next, let's go to pricing defaults. And I do just want to go over some details of how this works. You're going to go to More Applications, Price Book, Pricing Defaults. The pricing defaults section will show you your maintenance plan pricing. This is where you will put the discount that you're going to provide to your customers anytime you do a service for them. And so one way to leverage this to get more signups is to tell your customers, hey, if you sign up for our maintenance plan program, we'll come out, we'll, maintenance your systems, but any services that we do on top of that, you'll get 10% off all parts, let's say. And then the way that you control this, so let's kind of dive deeper into how this works in the different places in your system, is if you create a proposal or invoice, it will automatically apply this maintenance plan pricing. It will convert it from the standard price to the maintenance plan pricing and show those savings to the customer. So it's really nice when you're saying, hey, we fixed this for you today, and you got 10% off for being our Comfort Club plan member. If they are not a maintenance plan customer, then it will say available savings. And then that's a way to entice the customer to sign up. Hey, if you sign up for a maintenance plan today, then you'll get 10% off today's service and, any future services. And so let's go over to a invoice. Let's just create a quick invoice. We're going to create job form. Let's say this is a maintenance job. We'll just name this maintenance plan. and get onto an invoice by clicking Create Invoice. By default, it is going to set the pricing based on whether the customer has a maintenance plan or not. And you can update that pricing here under the pricing settings. So right now it's set to the standard price. So let's add some price book items and see what that looks like. So we will hit add item and we are going to just add, a general part. There we go. Maybe we'll add some labor. All right. And so a couple things. Number one, Justin, our customer, is not a maintenance plan customer, but it's going to show me available savings here. So when I'm standing with Justin, I'll say, hey, here's how much this costs today. But if you sign up for our maintenance plan program, you'll save 30 bucks. And here's all the benefits of being part of our program. Then if they want to sign up for a maintenance plan, you would do your normal recommend a maintenance plan from here. If you do not want this to show, if you don't want the available savings to show, you can always update that by going over to pricing settings, and you would just hide the maintenance plan pricing. So we'll click hide on that and update. And then that's how you control whether or not that savings shows here. And if they are a maintenance plan customer, you will see that the maintenance plan pricing that we set up on the pricing defaults page has just been added automatically. So there are some tips on the pricing on invoices. So if you want to sell a plan and then keep track of your visits, let's go over some different options, some different ways that you can do this. One way to add a plan is doing it on the invoice. So we have our invoice here. I want to sell a plan, so we'll choose recommend a maintenance plan. We'll choose the plan we want, which all of these are being pulled from our maintenance plan admin page. Let's go to the Comfort Club plan. And this we will hit save. That will add it as a recommended item at first, and now we'll do sign up now. And we're just running through these to do the contract, the service, reminders, and payment. This is the scenario where we know the price. So it's $100 for the Comfort Club plan. If I had different systems, I'd be able to choose those from here, and I don't need to do that pricing, calculate that pricing in the field. If this is $0, this is now when I would be looking at all the different assemblages, determining what the pricing is, and then be able to add that price here. We'll go down, we'll hit next. This is our service windows, and you can update this. Let's say that you wanted to add a third service window, which you normally don't do, but you're going to do it special for this customer. You just click add service window, and then you can set something different here. You can also update what the names are going to say. Make sure that you are choosing what the first session will be, what that first visit will be. That way your system will put them in order when you're looking at the visits, and then we will click next. This is just the contact information for when it's time to actually call and contact the customer. And keep in mind, if you have this set, whatever you have this set to here is what it will pull when you send reminders from the maintenance plan appointment scheduling page. You can also add recipients here if you want those reminders to go out to multiple customers. Next, and now we are on payment. And so if we want them to pay today for this, you would choose on invoice. If we want to set them up for a payment plan, you will choose payment plan. So let's talk about the payment plan. We are going to charge the customer either monthly, quarterly, or annually. If they are paying, let's say they're going to pay annually. So they're going to pay $100 a year. First payment date, last payment date, you can set. Auto generate invoices, I highly recommend you leave this on when a payment is auto debited. Your system will create an invoice and mark that invoice as paid, and that can act as a record of that payment. If a invoice is not generated, then that payment will come in as an unassigned payment, and you would need to then build the invoice and attach it if you want that invoice. You have the option to send the customer a receipt. So each time that payment goes through, yes, it will show up in their bank account. They'll be able to see that they have been charged for something, but do you want to send an official email receipt from your business about the payment? Some businesses they want to have that off, just so there's no like specific reminder going out, which may encourage your customer to remember they have it and maybe cancel. And others, they're like, it's good business practice to make sure we're sending out receipts. So let's make sure we have that toggled on. That's based on you and your preferences, but you will toggle that on and off here. And then you can set your tax group. And down below here, this is where you're going to enter the payment information. This is the payment info this is the payment method that will be used when the recurring payment happens. You can either enter their card information, new bank account information, and if they do have any stored account info, you can just use that to auto-populate. Once you set this up for a payment plan, then if you have, I recommend having the until canceled option selected. That way it builds out all of the next 20 years of service windows. For today's example, let's choose on invoice and click done. We've got our Comfort Club plan is on here. We are ready to charge the customer. So let's quickly take a payment. And then something to note here as well. What we're saying is we are making a payment for today's invoice. And since we've added the maintenance plan, it already knows that we are going to apply a portion or all of this payment to the Comfort Club plan. And we're applying $100 of what they're paying today towards this plan. That way, when you go to look at the plan, it will show a zero balance because this invoice has taken care of that payment. Let's say they paid with a check and record payment. Now you will see the star is next to Justin's name. Justin is officially a maintenance plan customer, but we need to do services now for go out and do these maintenance services. So how do you keep track of that? There's a couple different places that you can actually look at the maintenances that are needed and do scheduling and actually schedule the appointment for your technician to go out. The first place we're going to look at is scheduling by customer page. So this may be a scenario where your customer calls you or you're calling them, and now you need to pull up a way to schedule the appointment. I already know I'm talking to Justin, so I will search for Justin, and we will just go to Justin's customer page. And we want to go to the Maintenance Plans tab. From here, it will tell you that if they have any unscheduled maintenance appointments. And since we already took that payment on the invoice, we can see the balance for the plan is zero. And here are the different services we need to provide. So between January and June, we're going to go out and do an AC cleaning. Between July and December, we'll go and do the heat cleaning. These jobs are what you should use when you are doing the visits. A common mistake that will happen is it's time for me to go out and I need to schedule an appointment, send my technician out to go do the maintenance agreement or maintenance visit. Uh, you would do it from the schedule page. You essentially are creating a new job, and that is in no way connected to the maintenance plan. So it's very important that you are using these jobs for the different visits that you're going out to complete these maintenance visits. And this scenario is scheduling from the customer page. So I can just schedule right from here. I can click on the calendar and I can either create a service request uh, or schedule now. Service request would be if you want to set this up as an appointment, get all the details in there, write notes, add tags, and get it prepped and ready. And then that will show up in your work queue. So you could have all your maintenance visits in your work queue just ready to go. And then when it's time to schedule, you can do that from the schedule page and just drag and drop it onto the schedule page. Schedule now means I know the date, I know the time, I know the technician, and we're going to go ahead and schedule this and get it on the dispatch board. So let's say we want to go ahead and schedule now. We will go out there, let's say today between 3 and 4. I'll go out there and do the service myself. Add any notes, like normal scheduling procedures. And then when you're ready, click schedule. That will now show as scheduled. This will go onto the mobile app. Your technician will be able to see that they have a maintenance visit to go do, and it's already connected to the correct job. So when they go out there and do that job, which let's just recreate what your technician will do, they'll go out, they'll complete the service, they will mark that appointment as complete. And then the next time you go to check, you will see under the maintenance plan section that that is now complete. And then when it's time to do the heat cleaning, I can follow the same process as going to the customer page and just scheduling the appointment directly from here. So that is one scenario that you can do, which would be doing your scheduling individually per customer. However, if you have a lot of customers, you may not want to go individually to everyone. So another scenario for scheduling is you can do that from the maintenance plan appointment scheduling report, which is going to be your best friend if you are the one doing the actual scheduling. To get there, let's go. First, you would go to reporting. If you have advanced reporting, it will first put you on the advanced reporting page. You'll just need to click over to original. And then we want to go under jobs down to maintenance plan appointment scheduling. And this can be the bread and butter of how you're going to keep track of all your maintenance plan visits. So a couple use cases of using this report. The main question that you will most likely ask is, oh wait, I think someone's having a little trouble joining. All right, I will just keep an eye on that. I think someone will be joining us soon. Oh, maybe not. They just went away. Okay. So a use case for this, the question you're going to ask is, who do I owe a service to? And to determine this, I would recommend getting rid of future and get rid of next. And what this is going to show you when it says current in both, this is saying who has a current maintenance plan and who is within the current service window. So it's not expired, and we are officially in the window of time that we need to provide a service for them. That will show down below. and then you will be able to see the appointment status from here and do all of your scheduling for this. You could either
May I
use,
ask a question?
oh, yes,
So these will come up, let's say your service window is, let's say March to June. If you
yes.
pull this up in February to go ahead and schedule those March, will this populate or do we have to, is this only going to show things starting in March? Because that's the window.
It will, so if you have it set to current, it will only show if the like today's date is in the current time frame.
Part of the window.
It,
Okay, thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah, yeah. If you want to do future, which you definitely will want to do if you want to get ahead of things, then that's what the future option is for. And so if I want to see a service window that doesn't start yet until the future, you just do all future, and then now you can see more than current. Did that answer your question, Lori?
Yes, it did. Thank
All right, perfect. Cool. So now you can use the customer information here to either individually call everyone. Maybe you're going to have a block of time where it's like, I'm getting these scheduled today. Or you can send out reminders for your customers to then contact you. And so to do that, you will click Send Notifications, Review, and then click Send Notifications. That's going to send a notification out to your customer. It will automatically select the contact info that you chose when you were signing up the contract. And in that reminder section, you determine. So, like when you're talking to the customer, it's like, hey, we're not going to talk again for another 6 months. So, when that happens, what is your best contact info for us to reach out so we can come do that service? You'll hit send and they will receive that message. Can you send by zip code? You cannot. You cannot send by zip code. The way that this pulls will be from the the reminders contact section, which would be phone number or text message. I'm trying to think. Pull so filter send by zip code. I don't know a way that you could do that. Okay, so the answer is no, Lori. If so, good teachable moment here. If you do find a way that you would like something to work, but it doesn't currently, you can go down to the help center and contact support, and you would submit a improvement request. So you would basically just say like, hey, I'd really love to be able to do this in the system. And then the way that process works is they will look for anyone else who has requested that as a feature. If someone else has asked for that before, they'll add you to that list. And as that list grows of customers asking for a feature, if that gets big enough, we build it out. So I would recommend doing that if that's something you want. Okay. So from here, oh, there was something. Oh, I lost my train of thought for a second. Well, we want to send. Oh, yes, yes, yes. You may be sending this, but you have no idea what that message actually says, right? And so to control what that message says, you would go to settings, call and notifications, email notifications, and text notifications. There's two separate pages that you can update. Like you can make the text say something different than the email. Let's use email notifications as an example. And then what we're looking for is right here, maintenance plan, scheduling, request. And so you do have a default message and we know the industry, so it's very basic, but it will get the job done. But I do recommend coming into here and updating what this says. Maybe you want to put like how to prepare for a maintenance visit. You could even put some call to actions in here for them to contact you at a certain number. Maybe you could even do, well, if you have, so something that's coming down the line for everyone is self-scheduling. We have a new feature coming out, and you could put your self-scheduling link in here, and then they would just choose maintenance, and they could actually self-schedule the maintenance themselves. That is coming up in the coming months, so I'm excited for that. But basically, here you will be able to control what that message says when you are sending out these reminders. Just a pro tip there. All right, so let's have a look. I'm just going to check my notes, make sure I did not miss anything. Okay. Next, we're going to look at maintenance plan customers report for tracking renewals. So we know how to sign customers up for a plan. We know now how to come and schedule, and we can search for different service windows, kind of get our filters, and we know how to send reminders and how to update what that message says. But if something expires, their maintenance plan expires, we want to know how to renew. We will go to reporting and then maintenance plan customers report right here under the customers section. Here we go. From here, you'll be able to see how many expired plans you have in your system, how many current plans, and how many future plans. And then a use case for this is who has it, well, either who already has an expired plan that I need to then renew. I would need to reach out to the customer and add a new maintenance plan for them. In that case, you would want to just look at expired. And then you can also look at future. And so you could see, are there any future plans that are coming up? Let's get rid of this. So if a plan is expired and it says expired here, if they do not have a future plan already set up, that means they need a renewal. And then you'll see an N here, which means no, they do not have a future plan. That would require a renewal. If you see a Y here, that means that they do have a future plan. You know, this plan is currently expired, but you've already set them up on a future plan. They do not require a renewal. And so maintenance plan customers is a great place to track expirations and renewals. And now let's look at recurring payments. So the place where you can check to make sure that your recurring payments are going through, you will go to payment options, payments, recurring payment. And this is your home base for all of your recurring payment plans. You'll be able to see any overdue payments. That means that something didn't go right and the payment did not go through. So it's overdue. It was supposed to auto debit, but there was some type of failure that happened. And it will give a little example of what the issue is. You can attempt to rerun a payment if you need to. You select it and hit run tonight, and it will try that payment again. But if that doesn't work, then it's time to reach out to the customer. Maybe their card on file has expired, and you just need to add a new stored payment plan. And then the other section down here is just your existing and upcoming payments. So these are the payments that are going through, the amounts, and you can see the next recurring payment date from here. Great place just to, like the recurring payments, it's great. You can set it and forget it. It's just going to auto debit, but you don't want to forget it. You want to make sure that those payments are going through. So this is a place to go and check for that. Okay, we are getting close to the end. I have one more section that we're going to talk about, and then we'll get into our Q&A. Lori asks, Once you update the new payment method, do you go back and retry the declined payment? Oh, I'm going to star this one too, because we'll look at that together. Let's see if we can. I haven't looked at that in a while, so let's take a look at that during the Q&A, which we're almost there. Great question. Okay. The last thing we're going to talk about are adding a plan to a customer at a $0 price point. And there's some scenarios that you may want to use that are just like individual use cases. To do this, let's go to the customer page. And we're going to use our customer, Mary Smith. And let's go to the maintenance plan tab. And we're going to delete this. This is actually a plan I did in a previous webinar. Okay. So the main way that you would add maintenance plans is through an invoice. And that way you can take payment. The customer sees a document that they are being signed up for a maintenance plan. But there may be scenarios where you want to add a plan without an invoice. And we're going to go over those now. So one way is if you need to backdate a plan from a previous system. Let's say that you were coming from another software into WEX FSM. Maintenance plans is not something that transfers over in terms of data. And so you would need to enter in plans for backdating and making sure that in your new system here, you have documentation of where this customer is at with their maintenance plan. So to do this, you will click the plus sign. And now this is the maintenance plan modal. So what we went over earlier, you already know how to use this. You would just select. But what we're going to want to do here is if I'm transferring this is a previous plan, maybe they've already paid. So I don't need to collect payment on this. So I'm going to set this to a $0 price point. And then down below, we'll hit next. This is personal preference here. Let's say that we already did their July, December heat cleaning because they signed up at late last year. You could just delete that. And now when you're looking for scheduling, you won't even have that old session. You would just see that you owe them an AC cleaning. And once you do that, it's complete. But if you would like to keep this as a record, then I would leave that on. And then you will simply backdate that. So let's leave that on. Let's say that the first service window we did for them was the August to December, and we'll hit next. And then continue and here. So for payment, we don't need to take payment. They've already paid. So we'll choose not now and hit done. And then you will see we already did the August to December. I want to document that we did this. So I'm going to backdate this and mark it as complete. And that is how you would do any other schedule. So we're just going to do that real quick. We'll click the calendar. We will schedule now, but we're going to backdate this. So let's say we did this in September 16th. And you would be the one who knows what time you went out and did that. And then technician who went out, let's say Dustin went out last year and did it. And then we will now, if you're doing this, I would turn off the notifications so you don't accidentally send something to your customer and hit schedule. And now we need to mark this as complete. So I'm just going to go into the job and mark the appointment in the text status area as complete. And a little refresh. maintenance plans. And there we go. We've officially backdated a plan. When we go to renew, we will collect payment again, but this is now marked as complete. Another scenario where you would want to add a $0 price point plan, maybe you are doing this as a promotion, like, sign up or like get a furnace install and we'll add you to our maintenance plan program for free. Uh, Adding a free plan means you don't need an invoice. That would be another scenario where you would just use the add button here and then choose payment not now and make that a $0 price point. All right, so that is all the information we have for today's presentation. We're going to move to our Q&A now. But I just want to say thanks so much for joining. My name is Mark with WEX Field Service Management, and this has been Maintenance Plans Advanced.